Why does liquid stay in a straw when you hold your finger on top? Hi, welcome to Curious Kids Every Day. I'm Josh. How are you doing today? It's so good to hear from you. Hey, have you ever done that straw trick where you cover the top of a straw with your finger and then lift the straw out of your drink? Has anyone ever shown you that trick? Have you ever done it? What happens when you do that? It's like a magic trick. The liquid stays in the straw. It's like the water is just hovering in the sky inside of the straw. And then what happens as soon as you move your finger away from the top of the straw? Yep, all the liquid falls out of the straw and back into your drink. Have you ever wondered how that happens? It's like the water kind of just floats in the straw, sort of. I was thinking about this today because I got an email from a curious kid named Arlo. Arlo wondered, why does liquid stay in a straw when you hold your finger on top? Okay, so how can liquid stay inside a straw when you lift it up just because your finger is covering the top? How does that make any sense? Well, it actually makes perfect sense once you understand the science of air pressure. First, let's talk about what's in a straw when it's sitting in your drink. The straw is a tube, and it fills with liquid because the bottom opening is under the surface of the drink. But above the liquid, there's air inside the straw too. So when you put your finger on the top of the straw, you're sealing it. And when you lift the straw out of your cup, air can't get in or out. But what about gravity? Remember, gravity is the force that pulls everything down to the ground. Gravity is why that water should fall right out of the bottom of the straw, right? Right? Well, gravity is still pulling the liquid downward like it always does. But as the liquid tries to fall, there's a problem. Do you know what it is? If the air tried to fall out of the bottom of the straw, what would exist in its place? There's no way for air to rush in from the top because your finger is sealing it. And the air outside the straw is pushing upward on the liquid at the bottom. We'll talk more about that in a second. So if the water moved downward, it would leave behind an empty space in the straw where the liquid used to be. And an empty space, that has a scientific term. In science, we call that kind of super low air space a vacuum. Now, when you think about a vacuum, what do you think of? Right, like a vacuum cleaner. Did you know that this is kind of how vacuum cleaners work too? A vacuum means there's much less air pushing inside that space. Really, a vacuum is just a lack of air altogether. But outside the straw, the air all around you is still there. It's pressing on everything. You can't usually feel it, but the air pushes in all directions, and that push is called air pressure. So here's what's happening. Inside the straw, above the liquid, the air pressure becomes very low because your finger is blocking air from coming in. And then outside the straw, at the bottom opening, the normal air pressure is still pushing upward on the liquid. That outside air pressure helps hold the liquid up inside the straw because the straw is sealed at the top. Now, the second you lift your finger off the top, you break the seal and air can rush in from above. That means the pressure inside the straw becomes normal again. There's no longer a low pressure space at the top, so now the air pressure is equalized and gravity wins easily. The liquid falls right out. So basically, Gravity is pulling the water down, but the air pressure pushing up from below is stronger than the pressure above the water. And if the water tried to fall, it would leave a vacuum above it because your finger is sealing the straw. Does that make sense? This is one of those times where it's a little bit difficult to explain how something works using just my voice. But I want you to think about the air below the straw pushing up on the water. That's the most important thing. It's not that the water is really floating above, it's that the air pressure below the water is pushing it up. And the reason that the air pressure is able to do that is because you are creating low pressure in the straw between your finger and where the water starts. Higher pressure below the water and lower pressure above the water makes it just sit there like it's floating. And that's how it works. That cool little straw trick is all about air pressure and gravity. Nothing is strange about it. Everything is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But with a cup of liquid and a straw, you can easily see how air pressure can beat gravity when conditions are just right. Okay, let's have a quick quiz. What force is always pulling the liquid downward? That is gravity. And what do we call the pushing force from the air all around us? We call it air pressure. And what is a space with very little air called? It's called a vacuum. And technically, it's a partial vacuum. Only a place with no air would be a real vacuum. True or false? Air pushes on things even though you usually can't feel it. That's true. True or false? With your fingers on top of the straw, air can easily enter the straw from above. No, that's false. You're sealing it. True or false? The liquid stays because the straw creates a low pressure space above the liquid. That is true. Would you rather be in a space with no air for 10 seconds or a place with no gravity for 10 seconds? I'm not sure I would like the feeling of no air, even for just 10 seconds. So I think I'd rather float around with no gravity for 10 seconds. That sounds much more enjoyable. All right, let's play a round of What Am I? What am I? I pull things. I'm why things drop. And in space, there is less of me. What am I? I am gravity. So now that you know how the straw trick really works, are you going to try it for yourself? Your finger is acting like a lid that blocks air, and that makes the pressure inside the straw low above the liquid. And the air outside pushes up to help hold the liquid in place. Isn't it so strange to think that air pressure can actually keep something pushed up? Doesn't seem like it would work, but if you try the straw trick for yourself, you'll see that it's true. Pretty amazing. What kind of question do you think we'll ask tomorrow on Curious Kids Every Day? I can't wait to find out. So until then, keep asking questions and stay curious, kids. And we've got some birthdays today. Today is Lee Ray's birthday. Lee Ray is from Oregon and Lee Ray is turning 1. Happy birthday, Lee Ray. Frankie is from New Jersey and Frankie is turning 6. Happy birthday, Frankie. Carter is from Massachusetts and Carter is turning 9. Happy birthday, Carter. Bryson is from Tennessee and Bryson is turning 4. Happy birthday, Bryson. Graham is from Illinois and Graham is turning 3. Happy birthday, Graham. Summer is from North Carolina and Summer is turning 5. Happy birthday, Summer. Today is also Kaisa's birthday. Kaisa is from Texas. Happy birthday, Kaisa! And Aiden is from Virginia, and Aiden is turning 5. Happy birthday, Aiden! To all the grown-ups listening, if your curious kid wants their birthday mentioned on the show, please visit supportcuriouskids.com and join the Curious Kids Club. That's supportcuriouskids.com. See you tomorrow!